I'm your host, BrightLearn, and today we have a special episode that you absolutely cannot miss. We're going to be talking about an interview that has made waves across the internet, featuring none other than Steve Quayle, who joined Mike Adams for an urgent discussion on what they call the last days of the American Empire. Now, I know that sounds like a pretty heavy topic, and trust me, it is. But it's also incredibly important, and I think it's crucial that we explore these ideas with an open mind and a critical eye. So, let's jump right in. The interview kicks off with Mike Adams setting the stage, emphasizing that this is not a celebration of the end of the American Empire, but rather a somber acknowledgement of the multiple factors leading to its decline. He introduces Steve Quayle as someone with a unique perspective on global events, and the conversation quickly turns to the dire state of the nation. Quayle doesn't mince words. He describes a sense of mourning in the country, a feeling that the United States is coming apart at the seams. He points to the border crisis in Texas, controversial statements from the Biden administration, and the alarming state of the U.S. Treasury. According to Quayle, the Treasury is running out of money faster than expected, with only $50 billion left, a figure he believes is insufficient to cover even basic expenses like Social Security payments. Quayle emphasizes that the real issue is the lack of foreign investment in U.S. Treasury bonds. He claims that sovereign wealth funds and nations are not buying U.S. debt at the rates they used to, and some are even selling it at a fraction of its face value. This, he argues, is a sign that the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency is in jeopardy. Adams chimes in, noting the cyclical nature of the rise and fall of empires. He mentions the British, Roman, and Egyptian empires as examples, suggesting that the American empire is following a similar trajectory. He asks Quayle to elaborate on the abandonment of the Treasury debt, and Quayle explains that the situation is dire, with the U.S. facing a potential default on its obligations. The conversation then shifts to the broader implications of this financial crisis. Quayle warns of hyperinflation, a scenario where the rapid devaluation of the dollar leads to skyrocketing prices and a breakdown in the economy. He believes that the situation could reach a tipping point with the Fed forced to print more money, further exacerbating the problem. Adams agrees, adding that the power grid is another critical issue. He mentions warnings from the U.S. Energy Commissioner about systemic failures in the grid, exacerbated by the Biden administration's policies of shutting down fossil fuel plants without adequate replacements. This, he argues, will lead to rolling blackouts and a breakdown in essential services. Quayle paints a grim picture of what life might look like without reliable electricity. He talks about the potential for food shortages, as grocery stores struggle to keep perishable items fresh. He also warns of a breakdown in law and order, as people become desperate and resources dwindle. The discussion takes a turn toward the geopolitical, with Quayle expressing concern about the U.S. government's aggressive stance towards countries like China and Russia. He believes that these actions are pushing the world towards a potential nuclear conflict, a scenario he describes as World War III already in play. Adams agrees, noting that the U.S. has few allies left and the global landscape is shifting rapidly. He mentions the BRICS nations and OPEC as examples of countries moving away from the dollar, further weakening the U.S. position on the world stage. Quayle emphasizes the importance of preparedness, urging listeners to take action now. He recommends stockpiling essential supplies, investing in renewable energy sources like solar panels, and having a plan for self-sufficiency. He also stresses the importance of community, suggesting that people should work together to build resilient networks. Adams adds that learning to grow food and save seeds is crucial for long-term survival. He believes that the ability to produce your own food will be a key factor in navigating the challenges ahead. The interview wraps up with Quayle offering a sobering reflection on the state of the nation. He believes that the American empire is already in decline, and the signs are all around us. He urges people to adjust their expectations and prepare for a very different future. Adams agrees, adding that the time to act is now. He encourages listeners to take the warning seriously and start preparing for the challenges ahead. In conclusion, this interview is a stark reminder of the challenges facing the United States and the world. While the situation is undoubtedly dire, it's important to remember that there are steps we can take to prepare and adapt. As Quayle and Adams both emphasize, the key is to be informed, be prepared, and be ready to adapt to a rapidly changing world. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of BrightLearn. I hope you found this discussion as enlightening and thought-provoking as I did. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to reach out. And don't forget to subscribe for more episodes like this one. Until next time, stay curious and stay prepared.
This has been a BrightLearn.ai summary of an interview between Steve Quayle and Mike Adams on May 17, 2023. The full interview is available at brighteon.com, where you can also find podcasts and special reports by Mike Adams and other creators. Visit naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage of this interview and breaking news on critical stories that will keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.